Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today I have a very kind of chill video for you all. As some of you may know, I am a breastfeeding mom, and I am a breastfeeding young mom. I'm only 23 years old. I got pregnant at 22, so I've been a mom since I was 22 years old, so I'm a super young mom. Just any breastfeeding moms or any moms that are thinking about breastfeeding, this is going to be helpful for you. So pretty much I just wanted to make a kind of sit down advice video about breastfeeding as a young mom, because I know that breastfeeding is not very new, but I know that it's kind of I know that like in the prior years formula was used a lot, and even for like me and like my younger cousins and my younger siblings, formula was used. I feel like breastfeeding is just now becoming more normalized and more common. So I wanted to give you guys some advice if you were, you know, planning on doing that, or if you had any interest in that. I have been breastfeeding now for 10 months. Actually, oh my gosh, wait, today's the 1st. So tomorrow's the 2nd. So I've been breastfeeding now for 11 months. I breastfed my daughter Bella since the very first day that she was born. So I've had a lot of experience in these past 11 months of breastfeeding, and I don't really know when I'll stop. I originally said at about 1 year, but Bella really seems to enjoy breastfeeding, so I may go longer than that. I kind of want her to just wean naturally on her own. I don't want to force her to do anything. I know that breastfeeding is very calming for her and very relaxing, so I'm happy that, you know, it's doing something for her, and whatever works for her works for me. As long as we can keep doing it, I'm willing to keep going. So yeah, I wrote down a few little things in my notes, just a little advice that I want to give you guys. This is just from my own personal experience, the things that I have experienced, and the kind of things that have helped me to keep going. Because whenever you are breastfeeding, especially like if you're around older relatives and things like that, it may be hard to like not listen to them and just kind of want to keep going with it. So I wanted to give you guys advice, or just be someone, you know, that you feel like you can relate to, a video that you can come back and look on whenever you do feel discouraged about breastfeeding. I want to be your support system. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is that breastfeeding may or may not come natural for you. For me, it did come natural. Bella basically latched on right away. Of course, there were some questions that I had, so what I would say, like, if it doesn't really come natural, or if you do have questions, ask your nurses while you're still at the hospital. They were such a huge help for me. Whenever they would come check on me, I would just ask them questions like, do you think that she's latched correctly? Am I in a good position? Is she getting enough milk? Things like that, because they were there to help me. I was only there for 1 day, but they did teach me and help me a lot just in that 1 day. I think that you can stay up to 4 days. So, you know, if you do want to get that extra help in those first few days, just to kind of get a hang of it and learn as much as you can, that's super awesome. But also, you can call them at any point. They usually give you a number, and you can call them and ask them any questions. Also, don't worry too much in those first few days. Those first few days, you're gonna have colostrum. Your milk won't come in just yet, but don't worry and think that your baby isn't getting enough milk. Just know that your baby is getting exactly what they need. Your body is producing exactly what they need at that moment, and whatever they take in is exactly what they need. They're not gonna lack anything whenever it comes to breastfeeding, especially those first few days. Okay, this next one goes back to what I said about the older relatives. Don't really listen to older relatives that haven't breastfed and that have always had their babies on formula and that have seen babies on formula, because they're not going to understand what breastfeeding is and why you're doing it. They're going to think that it's just a foreign concept, and they're not going to have the knowledge that you need on it. You're going to want to reach out and listen to people that have done it and people that are actually experienced in it and those experts, because, you know, an older relative can say, you know, oh, I raised 2 kids, I raised 3 kids, you know, and they all came out fine. But everyone raises their kid completely different, and just because someone used formula for their baby doesn't mean that you have to use formula, and vice versa. Yeah, know that you're doing something really great for your baby by giving them breast milk. It may seem weird to them or weird to some people, but you're literally doing the best thing that you can for your baby. When it comes to milk, what you produce from your body is God-given, and it has all of the nutrients in it that your baby needs, and it's just the best thing for them. Formula is a great option too if you can't breastfeed or if you don't want to breastfeed. It's formulated specifically for babies, but of course, you know, what's natural is going to be better naturally. Okay, the next thing I want to say, I didn't really do this that much, but if you can, pump as much as you can. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I was able to breastfeed all throughout the day. But whenever you can, pump as much milk as you can. This is going to be great for those emergencies, whenever you need to leave your baby with someone, or if you have to stop breastfeeding earlier, you'll have this stash of milk that they can drink that you know is going to be super good for them. I did pump whenever I was engorged, and this happened a lot, especially within the first few weeks. My boobs would just get super full, and I would have to pump to get all of the excess milk out, and from that I would have like a ton of milk. I used to have so much milk in my freezer, even though I wasn't like on any pumping schedule or pumping routine. But if you look on YouTube, there's a lot of people that strictly pump and they can produce so much milk. So if you have, you know, more interest in that, make sure you check out those videos. I don't have too much experience on pumping, so I can't give you everything. I can't tell you everything about it, but I do know that it was super helpful for whenever I needed to leave Bella at any point, and it's just great to have a stash in case you need it. So pump as much as you can whenever you can. It also helps with engorgement a lot. Engorgement basically means whenever your breasts fill up with milk and they get super hard and like super just uncomfortable, and whenever you pump that milk out, it just feels so much better to not have all that milk inside your boobs. But yeah, so this next one is very important if you want to breastfeed for a long time, especially if you want to exclusively breastfeed. This is very important. Do not introduce bottles and passies for a while. I don't know exactly how long it is. I'll try to look it up and leave it down below, but I think it's about the first maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, something like that. You don't want to introduce those things because it can cause nipple confusion, and if a baby gets too used to using a bottle or a passy, they may not want to nurse as much, and they may not really know how to latch on, and then also your supply will decrease. So that's just not really a good thing. So if you can, you know, try to hold out as long as you can. After your baby gets the hang of breastfeeding, then you can start using things like a bottle every now and then, maybe like for 1 or 2 feedings throughout the day, in case you want your significant other to feed the baby or anyone else to feed the baby. That's super great. And then you can also use a passy. Bella uses a passy. She started using a passy I think around 3 weeks or so. It was just one night, y'all, she just would not stop crying and I didn't know what was wrong, and I gave her a passy and she just immediately calmed down. I think I actually gave it to her a little bit early, but she didn't have any nipple confusion or anything like that. She was able to go right back to the boob. But yeah, I don't suggest doing that super early. This one is really important, I think. Don't be afraid to breastfeed in public. I know it can feel very uncomfortable, especially at first, but guys, you got to think about it as, you know, you're the one providing nourishment for your baby. So like, why would you care what a stranger thinks of that, you know? Like, they're completely irrelevant whenever it comes to the health of your baby and whether or not they're hungry. Like, someone giving you a weird stare, who cares? But honestly guys, whenever I breastfeed in public, I honestly don't even notice that many like weird looks and stares. Maybe I'm just in my own little bubble and I just don't care what anyone else thinks, but I honestly don't even notice that at all. I have noticed some family members may get uncomfortable if I breastfeed in front of them, but honestly I just don't care. To be honest, I just don't care, and I'll just keep doing it. And it's just like, you know, you're just gonna have to get used to it because it's how she eats, and she eats about every 2 to 3 hours. So you're gonna be seeing me breastfeeding a lot, and if you don't really like it, then you just can't be around me, to be quite honest. The next thing that I want to say is that breastfeeding is definitely a full-time job. I saw an article online that says that breastfeeding moms spend about 8 hours or more per day breastfeeding, and it's so true that breastfeeding is completely a full-time job. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's another full-time job. So you basically have 2 full-time jobs, and if you work from home, that's another full-time job. Like I do YouTube at home, so that's another full-time job on top of other things that you have going on. But I feel like that it just is what it is, and things like this, I feel like it is a full-time job and it's hard to do, especially at first whenever you're just kind of trying to get the hang of it and everything like that. But it's completely worth it because you know that you're giving your baby the best that you can, and they're gonna grow strong and healthy. So yeah, it's completely worth it. Yeah, your baby will be healthier drinking breast milk, and there's also so many health benefits for you. Like, breastfeeding can reduce cancer, it can help you lose your baby weight, so many things. And also, it's one less thing that you have to buy whenever you have a baby. Whenever you have a baby, it's so expensive because you have to buy diapers, clothes, daycare, freaking just everything. You have to buy so many things. And if you cannot buy formula, that makes a big difference. At least for me, it has made such a big difference to not have to buy formula. The next one kind of goes hand in hand with the relative thing, but do not take too much advice from those who have never breastfed and who don't have any experience breastfeeding. Yeah, they just won't have the knowledge that you're looking for. They won't have the answers that you're looking for. Even if they do try to help, they just don't have any experience with it. So it's better to just reach out to a breastfeeding consultant, someone that has, you know, the knowledge and experience, or simply just look it up on YouTube. A lot of the questions that I had whenever I got home, I literally just looked it up on YouTube, or I looked it up online, or I would talk to the pediatrician about, and that's pretty much how my questions got answered. And I feel like breastfeeding is such a natural thing that it pretty much does come natural, kind of like it's not really something that you have to think about too much. Your baby will figure it out, you will figure it out. You just have to give yourself time and be patient, pretty much. This is another thing that was kind of hard, I guess you can say. Hard and weird and just different. So your nipples may crack and they may even bleed the first few weeks of breastfeeding, because I actually don't know why, but your nipples are just not used to that latching process. And I feel like too, with the baby's mouth being so small, they can't really latch on fully like they would as an older baby. So your nipples can get very sore and cracked. I remember one day my nipples were bleeding and I was just like, oh my god, this is so hard. But pretty much what I used to do is just after every breastfeeding session, I would just use a nipple ointment to help soothe my nipples, and I would take a lot of baths. I couldn't take showers because literally the hot water hitting my nipples would make them burn. So I would have to sit in the tub every single day because that was the only way that I could shower. But yeah, just use ointments and things like that after you finish. After about 2 to 4 weeks, the pain pretty much just disappears. Like, I remember one day it was just like I went to go and feed Bella in the morning and she latched on and it just didn't hurt one day, and I didn't deal with the cracking nipples and bleeding nipples anymore. So I don't know, I guess your nipples just get used to it. But the bleeding only happened one time. I thought that was something that would be constant, but it only happened one time and it pretty much healed and it went away. I did keep feeding her even with my nipples cracked and things like that, because, you know, I read online that you should just keep feeding, and, you know, as long as you don't have anything like any major illnesses, it's completely fine. The next thing that I would suggest is for you to find support, people that support you breastfeeding. So whether it be friends, family, your significant other, or like an online community, this is very important, because breastfeeding is hard and it's just not as common as it should be, and it's not as normalized. So whenever you do run into these obstacles, you will be very tempted to quit. And if you have someone around you that's making you feel bad about breastfeeding or making you feel like you're doing something wrong, it's just going to make you want to quit even more. So it's very important to have people around you that support you. For me, my boyfriend helped a lot with that, because he never made me feel awkward whenever I would breastfeed. I know there were times where like I personally felt like awkward and like weird, because it's just like I'm just popping my boob out and I'm feeding her, or like I would feed her and I would fall asleep and my boob would still be out. He never made me feel uncomfortable or weird about that. So that was really helpful. Even with like pumping and stuff, like being connected to the pumps when I felt like I just looked so stupid, he never made me feel weird, even if he was thinking something. I don't know what he was thinking, but he never made me feel weird about it, and that was very helpful. My mom, my family, they also never really made me feel weird. I mean, there was a few people that would make like a few little comments like, do you think that you should cover up or something like that, and it's just like, no, I don't think that I should cover up. And it's just like, those kind of people aren't really like gonna be your support system. So just don't surround yourself with those people. Only surround yourself with people that actually support you. Okay, so this one's important, but if at any point you want to quit breastfeeding, it's completely fine. Don't ever feel guilty for wanting to stop breastfeeding, and don't ever feel like you have to explain why you want to stop breastfeeding. That's completely your choice. You don't have to make any explanation for that. Honestly, just do what's best for you and for your baby. And yeah, you just don't have to explain why it didn't work out for you. Either it does or it doesn't, and that's completely fine. Okay, and my last piece of advice, what are we on, 18 minutes already? Sheesh. Okay, so my last piece of advice is just to stay strong. Know that you are figuring it out, and you and your baby will get the hang of it, and it's just going to be a matter of time and practice before you just get it right. And once you have it, it just clicks and you're completely fine, and it's completely natural, and you don't even have to think twice about it. It's just like, you know your baby's hungry, you pop a boob out and you feed them. Like, It's nothing crazy, but if it does get overwhelming for you at any point and you feel like you want to stop, again, it's completely fine. Don't ever feel guilty about it. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty about it. Don't make yourself feel guilty about it. You know, you have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself too, and if you're feeling down at any point during breastfeeding, then, you know, make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because your baby will be completely healthy on formula as well. They create these formulas for babies, so you don't have to worry about that. But they do need a healthy mama, and that is extremely important, so make sure that you're taking care of yourself, guys. I feel like one of the hardest things about being a mom is just like the guilt and the pressure that you put on yourself to just be the best mom possible. But if you do feel that way, you pretty much know that you're doing the right thing. You know that you are being the best mom that you can be, because if you're even thinking that, then you basically are, honestly. Like, we're all human. You're not gonna get it perfect every single day or every single minute of the day, and that's completely fine. You know, take your time, have patience, do your research online, and just have a strong community that supports you, because breastfeeding is a journey. It's not just a one-day thing, or like you're gonna have it all together in 2 days or even 2 weeks. It's literally a journey. I feel like it wasn't until maybe like 4 or 5 months in where I felt like, okay, like it's good, like everything is perfect. And you know, even now I still have little questions and stuff, like I wonder if she's getting enough milk, etc, etc. But you know, speak to your pediatrician and yeah, just do your own research, and honestly just rely on that this is a natural thing. This is what you were made to do. This is what your baby was made to do. You know, it's completely natural. So 9 times out of 10 you are doing a great job, so don't beat yourself up too much about it. I don't know why I feel like I was so close to the camera just now. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of this video. I hope that it helps someone out there who is a breastfeeding mom or who is considering breastfeeding and just wanted a little bit of advice from a young mom who has done it and is still doing it and is just literally learning along the way. These are some of the things that I kind of wish that I knew in the beginning, but now that I know, I'm happy to share them with you guys. Oh, and also, this is a new wig, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about it. I feel so mellow and chill today. I don't know what's going on, but this wig is new. It's from Freedom Couture, and y'all, it's so freaking cute. I feel so cute, y'all. If you see me wearing this every day, don't say nothing, okay? Don't say nothing. And as y'all can see, I'm already wearing the little fit that I told y'all I was gonna be wearing every day. It's just the first of many, okay? So you're gonna be seeing a lot more. But yeah, guys, like I said, I hope this was helpful for someone. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. As always, you guys know that I drop new videos every week, so I have a bunch of fun things coming up. Make sure you stay tuned for those. I have a lot of videos coming for the young moms out there. I feel like this is something that I can talk a lot about because I have a lot of experience with that, being a young mom myself. And being a first-time mom, I feel like I can just share with you guys some of my experiences along the journey. Stay on the lookout for those coming very, very soon. And yeah, let me know down below if you are a breastfeeding mom or if you do plan on breastfeeding in the future. And yeah, like I said, I have new videos coming, so stay tuned. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.